let's just say somebody who is particularly famous because of what they do athletically at the collegiate level just wants to have a signing deal where they sign stuff for the day, or they want to make a commercial for something that does not conflict with what the school is already doing. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. And in fact, Rich, I have believed for a long time that this is a civil rights issue. And, players in college don't have the same economic rights as their fellow students. Any student that is a non-athlete is allowed to earn or accept whatever they choose in the marketplace. And in fact, they're celebrated at their college and university for doing so. Give you an example. My daughter just graduated college a couple of years ago. She's a very talented artist. We're very proud of her, but she was majoring in art, and she sold her artwork while she was in school and made good money doing it. That's celebrated and considered to be a good thing. But if an athlete were to sell an autograph or do something out in the commercial space, they'd be ineligible, and frankly, they'd be treated a little bit like a criminal. You've seen Ohio State years ago, guys sold jerseys, and that became a huge issue. So it's things like that would be opened up, and it wouldn't be. The NCAA wants to make it seem like it would create all these complications. It wouldn't create any complications. And one of the laughable things I've heard recently is, well, what if an athlete wanted to do an ad for a casino or for a cannabis company or something like that, and we couldn't have that? Well, what if Nick Saban wanted to do that? Or what if Mike Krzyzewski wanted to do that? The universities can handle those issues just fine. They don't need a blanket rule that says nobody can have anything because we're worried about the sort of the crazy doomsday example.
Well, it's not just the NCAA, too, Jay Bilas. In this New York Times article that I'm reading about it, the athletic director at Long Beach State, Andy Fee, is quoted as saying, "It's like you and I sit down to play Monopoly, and I pull out a different rule book, and every time I pass go, I'm going to give myself $400 instead of $200. And his point there being that if California does this and the rest of the member states of the NCAA and the United States don't allow this to happen in their states, then California has that advantage. And thus, I don't imagine, quote, too many people are going to be willing to allow California schools to compete for NCAA championships because they might get better athletes to come to California because California allows them to make money off their name and likeness." What do you say to that?
Well, I count the Long Beach State athletic director as the NCAA. So the NCAA has always, fallen all over themselves to say that the NCAA is the member school. So that's the NCAA perspective that I'm talking about. And it's sort of more of the same, Rich. I mean, with all due respect to athletic directors around the country and commissioners that use the same party line, to take that ridiculous monopoly analogy, they're not worried about differences in spending in any other area except for athletes. So the Long Beach State athletic director is not worried about passing go and building a $600 million facility at Alabama, or worried about the coaches making $10 million at other schools when Long Beach State can only afford to pay $700,000 to their basketball coach, or whether they have a football program and somebody else doesn't, or whether a university has a hospital and somebody else doesn't. It's all this sort of situational ethics, and they're drawing the line in one place only. There's no spending control in college athletics. There's only one, and that's the athlete. And what they're really saying is the athlete's the most valuable commodity here. And if we're allowed to pay, then the best athletes may go where the money is, and that means, and really what they're doing, this, Rich, I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, but all the best athletes are going to the Power 5 schools anyway. I mean, that's demonstrated, and that's without argument. So that doesn't mean that Long Beach State can't win once in a while, but I think you can see from the results that you don't see Long Beach State, at the top of the rankings in the money sports. Now, whether they do well in volleyball, great, but that's not what we're arguing about here. And what we're arguing about is there's no reason that a volleyball player at Long Beach State shouldn't be able to capitalize on his or her name, image, and likeness, or swimmers like Missy Franklin, Why shouldn't Missy Franklin at Cal, when she was at Cal, be able to monetize her name, image, and likeness? What would that have to do with any swimming result? It wouldn't. And we need to sort of let go of this antiquated thinking and these really, the truth is, nonsensical excuses we've been making for all this time.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.